It's not often we do an intro at the end of a video. However, this has been some insane floater fishing with some very funny moments, some downs, some ups and all that, and me falling on my arse. So if you want to see all of that, stay tuned for some very cool floater fishing action. Right, so you join me down at Norton Disney and we are on peg 1 at Hodgetts. Usually I would have a nice bald chap stood next to me, which is Ian Russell, but unfortunately this is far too far up north for him. He would get a giant nosebleed and we don't want that. So I'm solo and it's a little bit different to the Tour de Day ticket. This is just going to be a 24-hour challenge. It's 24 hours here on Hodgetts, see if we can make something happen. At the minute we've got adjustable zigs out, usual sort of spinner rigs, and we'll probably do a bit of solid bag fishing in a bit. So I'll maybe talk you through a few of them bits. And one of the key purposes of this video is to show you through the Go Catch app and all the features within it. A lot of people think the Catch app is just for finding a lake. That is part of it, but another part of it is the blueprint and also the catch report. So obviously if we catch a fish, we will log it and create a catch report and show you how to do so. And also next we'll take you through the blueprint, how to sort of lay it out and where to mark everything and sort of how the blueprints work. So we'll get into that and then we'll talk a little bit more about the session. Right, so obviously when you start your session, you need to go onto the Catch app, go to Blueprints, and then as it loads, you will click New because we're at a new lake. So you name the blueprint. So I'll just call this Norton. Save position, venue name, Hodgetts, water name, Hodgetts, swim 1, and then swim 1 again. There is a little bit of double info there, but you just roll through it and then it'll come up saying, please rotate your device. So turn it over and then you need to make sure basically that you're in a good position, that you can see the floor, see where your rods are and see all the horizon with all the horizon markers as well. There's no good putting it down here, pressing it, and then you're not seeing anything. So you see all the horizon markers. So because I'm fishing slightly right on this one as well, we'll just go back and get Tom the cameraman to move that way. So you've got these little white lines, crack a photo off, and then just wait for it to save. So once that's done, I'll take you through the next bit because it's taking a long time to, because our signal is not very good. Shall I do that? I'll buffer. As you can see, we've got the whole swim. You can see my rods and you can also see Tom in the corner. So when it gives you the little white box around the edge, that is not the frame. It does go a little bit wider than that. So you don't have to chop it right in. So it gives you all of this, gives you all of your skyline markers. I've already found a spot. So what I'll do is I'll get my marker float there, select it, and then just drop it. So that gives me my sort of line of sight because I know I'm fishing to that tree just above the marker float icon you can see on the screen. So then you tap that and then you can enter all of your details. This might seem a little bit complex. However, when you've been here for 24 hours, if you're fishing 3 different rods on 3 different spots, this is really important. So you are getting the rod back on the spot every time because there's no point in getting a bite and then 24 hours later thinking, oh, well, I can't remember if that was 14 or 18 or 9 wraps, or basically guessing it. Everything needs to be very precise. So this allows you to log all of that information. And then in the future, when you come back, you know you've got them spots to work on or at least work from again. So we'll just take you through all of these bits. You've got name your spot, so you call that right-hand rod. And then you've got distance, so you just put your wraps in there. Substrate, so this bit's really important if you're fishing on soft silt, gravel, in weed, anything like that. This gives you an indication as to what you're fishing over. So when you get a drop, you're also going to know that is correct. And if you do come back in a year's time and the drop is slightly different, it's probably best not to just fully believe this because that spot might be gone. But like I say, it does give you somewhere to go back to. Rig used, and then you can also add notes as well. So if I come out of that, click the save button, you've also got all of these other little icons down here. If there's a snag under the water, let's say you've been cut off, you can also press that, drop that over there and add a note and say you got cut off at sort of a rough distance. You're not going to know 100%, but let's say it's 40 or 50 yards out. You can type that in and then you know for next time as well, or you know to avoid it. If you've seen fish show, there's this little icon on the bottom. Drop that there. I have seen quite a few show in front of me, so you can add a note. You've seen a fish show at 40, 50 yards, and this just builds a picture of the swim and helps you have a better indication of what's gone on. Because sometimes, like I say, 24 hours later, you can think you've seen one, sort of, I'm looking at this tree here, and I think, oh, it was in line with that, but it actually could be the tree to the left. So it's really important to mark all this stuff down. Historically, people used to have a little notebook that they'd write it in. And in the notes on this as well, you can also note down the temperature, the wind direction. So the wind is blowing, or was blowing away from us. So if I was to catch someone here on the back of the wind, you can then also say we caught them off the back of the wind. So next time if it's pumping into here, conditions might be different and the session might be different as well. So all of these little things just help you piece together your session. So the next time you go somewhere, you can look back on that data, or if you come back here, you can look back on that data as well. Seems like a lot of work, but once you get used to the app, I'm doing it slowly because I'm showing you, but once you get used to using the app and you've got sort of a database built up, it can be extremely helpful. So with the technical piece out of the way, I'm going to move on and talk a little bit more about what I've been doing in this session and how I've approached Hodgetts here at Norton Disney. Now, quite a few different things have happened. Usually a lot of people come to places like this and they fish 3 on a spot, but this is quite a deep lake. I have got a little bit of shallower water off to my right, but in front of me I have seen a lot of fish show. So this morning I switched over to an adjustable zig. So yeah, I was going to talk you through the session and hopefully we can make one of these rods go off and fill out a catch report. We've done this a little bit different. Usually it would be a case of me getting here and us both sort of setting up, finding a spot, all that sort of good stuff. But because it's a 24-hour challenge, I wanted to sort of get ahead of time and get rods out, give myself the best chance possible. Some may call that cheating, but I'm just using it as a technical advantage. I started off slightly different. I was fishing 3 on a spot just down the marginal shelf in 10 foot of water. I moved obviously my left-hand rod onto an adjustable zig out into the bowl because it's 20 plus foot out there and has been a lot of fish showing. I did get them going on floaters earlier. The seagulls intervened and sort of ruined it. Another one's just come out there. So yeah, they're definitely in this sort of main bowl area. And because it's only a 1 zig rule here at Norton Disney, that is sort of it for me. So I've got to work that zig up and down the water column, try and get a bite off that. And I think if I do get a bite off the shelf, it's probably going to be in the night, to be honest. What keeps happening is it just actually ruined a take. My middle rod, which is in 10 foot of water, keeps getting a really savage liner. I actually think it's fish feeding closer into me. I'm fishing at 15 wraps on that rod. So I'm probably going to bring it back to about 10 or 12. So have a little flick about of a light lead, see what's going on out there. I can see a few fizzes as well. So I may just chuck a rig with a PVA bag over the top of it, to be honest. And then my right hand rod, I've gone right up the shelf into 6 foot. So I'm trying to cover all bases at the minute rather than fishing 3 on the spot, because I think the fish are just scattered everywhere. And ideally, I would have 3 rods out in that main bowl on adjustable zigs, working them up and down. I think we're a foot under the surface at the minute. It's probably been like that for about 30, 35 minutes. So I'm going to bring that down by another foot in a minute, and we're just going to keep working up and down, hopefully finding the sweet spot. And if we do, just keep resetting it at that. That is the dream anyway. So I'm going to do those bits I've just mentioned, and hopefully we can pick one up.
That's on.
Yeah, it is. So as you've seen, I just decided to forget there's a giant sleeper behind me. Fell on my ass, but spotting mixers and fishing zigs has worked. So I'm not going to talk too much because I worked extremely hard for that, and really want to get this in. I'm glad me falling over didn't the chances up, basically. Oh.
Did that hurt, mate?
It didn't hurt, it was just trashed my rods, didn't I, basically? Why did I just walk backwards and completely forget that there's a giant step there?
I can't wait to see that back on camera.
Yeah, same. I hope we got the take on camera as well, because that was cool watching him through the long lens, just there. I mean, still out there now taking him. So yeah, this is a method that I watched Jimmy Armstrong do, I reckon 4 or 5 years ago, something like that, where basically he was fishing a really deep lake and spamming mixers over the top of zigs that were essentially touching the surface. My eyesight is not very good, so fishing a controller at like 80 yards, truthfully, I'm just not very good at it. There are lads who can do it very well. They do the whole thing where you put a bit of a pink pop-up on top. I know Jimmy does that himself as well. But yeah, I'm just not. I can never see. I always miss the bite. So I just don't even bother to save myself the heartache. So yeah, we've gone with the adjustable zig just under the surface, and whilst they're munching a load of floaters, they pick the zig up as well. So it's just like a little brown barrel zig just to match the floaters essentially. I think the main thing as well with lakes like this, especially this time of year, obviously they can be great in the winter because they're 20 plus foot, but if you come here in the summer and expect them to catch them off the deck in 25, 30 foot, you could well be wasting your time. I'm not saying it won't happen, because it does. They're used to living in this environment, but if you come here without zigs or without zigs in your armoury, you're wasting your time a little bit, in my opinion. As we found out, none of the other rods have done anything for me, and the zig is away. But I do think spamming floaters over the top is just the key to that happening, really. I think had I just put a zig out, well, I did have a zig out. Had I just had one out there on its own, I might not have got a bite as quick, but I got them competing on the floaters. And hopefully this one's going to get in the net. Bit of water, yeah, bit of air rather, not a bit of water. Lives in the water, doesn't it? Come on. Oh. Lovely. I think what we'll do is get a couple more floaters out, because I think there's another opportunity. And I'm going to try and strike while the iron is hot. Get this unhooked.
Strike while the iron's hot, do you mean to strike without falling on your arse?
And strike without falling on my arse, yeah. So, yeah, we'll get a few more spoms of floaters out, get them seagulls gone, give this young man in the net a little rest, and give Tom a rest with the camera, get the zig back out, try and repeat the process. So yeah, we'll have a look at her in a minute. And I didn't get my socks wet. There we go, the result of An adjustable zig in deep water when it is warm. Do not leave them at home or out of your tackle bag. So that's us off the mark, just over £18. Nice to have a bigger one if we can. The rod is back out, and yeah, this one. We'll be going back in a second because it is very, very warm. As you can see, I'm tucked into a bush trying to hide out the way of the sun. So we'll get it back. I'm going to change them other 2 rods because I think they're fishing in the wrong place, to be fair. A few fizzers coming up, so probably put some solid bags on, drop them on them, and hopefully before the day is out, the zig does us another bite. The middle rod and the right hand rod have had a little bit of neglect today, to be fair. They've sort of been left to their own devices whilst I've been working that zig. The sun has gone in. I don't think the chance is gone on a zig to have another one. I think they're definitely still out there. I might just have to drop the depth down a little bit, but I've tied 2 solid bags up. I'm going to bring these rods in, and those liners kept happening, not as often, but it's just making me think they are sort of closer in. So I'm going to drop one right tight down this right hand margin, and then one just slightly down the shelf a little bit closer in. There is a bit of fizzing coming up out there at the minute. Not sure 100% whether it's fish or not, but with those liners as well, it's definitely worth a shot. I've switched to a solid bag because, as you all know, it's a nice little parcel of food with a rig inside, and yeah, I don't really want to be spomming this close in. I may catapult some boilies over the top of it as well, but we'll see. I'm going to drop these out, see what happens. Like I say, I think if we get a bite tonight on these, it's probably going to be at night, truthfully. So yeah, I'm going to work that zig, get these on, and get these other 2 rods reset and not fall over. Let's fish back on them floaters again. Couple on me still, isn't there? So after all that chat about not liking floater fishing at range, sort of irritated myself and decided to persevere. We've got one down here in the net that we haven't managed to have a look at yet, and yeah, put a few more floaters out, got the rod straight back out, and pretty quickly I've had another one. So once we've got this in, we'll deal with the little common that's in the net and see what this is as well. But yeah, they've gone through probably 10 kilo of mixers, I reckon, with them. I've just been hammering the 2 sizes of sticky krill floaters out, which are sort of naturally oily anyway, so it does give you a bit of a slick. The first bucket we used did have some salmon oil on as well, but I've run out of salmon oil, so we're just rolling as we go now. Which rod was that?
Right under.
I'm nowhere near that, I don't think. This is the fun about playing them on light tackle as well. When you've got a real soft rod and a fairly light line, it's much nicer to play them on, much like the Zig, but obviously you've got the softer rod, which is more through action, sort of deals with it a little bit better as well. So if you are going to do a bit of floater fishing, I would say definitely get a dedicated floater rod. Don't just think you can use one of your 3.5 or 3 3/4 pound test curve carp rods, because even getting the controller out there with that finer line, you do really need a slightly softer rod, something a bit more whip in it. I believe this one is 2.5 pound, yeah, so it's a Nash 12-foot, 2.5 pound floater rod, and it's I don't think they're very expensive, but as you can see, it's dealing with it very nice. I use it as a stalking rod at times as well, just dropping sort of slow sinking bread in the edge. You want to do bits like that. But yeah, it's been a very enjoyable day's fishing. We've been chopping and changing between tactics, obviously solid bags and stuff on these marginal rods, and then the over depth zigs, and then yeah, the floater rods. So nice to go to a venue that allows it. A lot don't these days. Just try and guide it away from that left hand rod. And I'm pretty sure, to be honest with you, we've got an opportunity to maybe have 1 or 2 more after this, because we still seem to be taking the odd floater out there. We have pretty much run out now, but as in run out, there's no floaters out there on the water. We can soon get some more out, but get over that line. Come on. Well, see if I can tempt him in. Probably go to you, mate. Oh, that's 2 for 2. Lovely job. Very enjoyable bit of fishing. And a lovely bit of squirrel jacky. We're going to get both of these out pretty quickly. Common obviously had a little rest whilst we was playing the mirror. They're both probably £18, pretty much the same as the other one, I would say. It's the summer, and obviously they've had a bit of a longer fight on the floater rod, so it took them a bit longer to get in, so they'll be pretty exhausted. So we're just going to get them straight back, lift them out, show you them, and just drop them back in. We're not going to get them out and weigh them and do all that jazz. So the other thing is there are fish taking floaters still, so we've got an opportunity to hopefully catch a bigger one. So we'll show you these very quickly, and we'll get them on their way. Right, there's the first one. Lovely little Hodgetts Lake Common. Very anxious to go back. So yeah, that's that one gone. And a nice little mirror. A little dunk. Yeah, it's got some lovely little pearly scales down its side. Be a proper character when it's a little bit bigger, no doubt. But yeah, we'll get this one back. Fingers crossed, try and catch another one off the top before we run into no more daylight hours. But yeah, what a great day's fishing down here at Norton. Absolutely spot on. So we'll see you later. But as I thought, putting those two back was probably the wise choice, because I've got a couple more spawns of floaters out, and they're not taking them with as much confidence as they have been because the sun is dropping. But I just put this just off the back of them, started confidently taking them, and this one has come out of nowhere and took it. So it doesn't feel like a very good fish. I say very good, very big fish, but I'm just going to keep trying until the opportunity goes, essentially. Nice one, another one in. Right, I was going to put this one straight back again, similar sort of size, probably about 15 to 18 pound, I reckon. So we'll let him go, and yeah, just try and get that rod straight back out there amongst some of them fish that are feeding still. So we had a bite before Tom was about to eat his tea, and just as he finished the last mouthful, I've had another one. And often is the way with floater fishing, the last one, or as it gets very close to the end, you seem to always hook a better one, and this will not let me do anything with it. It's holding at sort of 80, 90 yards. And a minute ago, yeah, I couldn't even slow it down. I'll be very surprised if this is not a better fish. It's made me look a right idiot if so, but we haven't got a lot of battery in the camera, so we are going to try and preserve this a little bit. I'll try and get it in, and hopefully nothing dramatic happens. Well, I think that is foul hooked, hence why it felt like a very big fish. So I'm just going to give it a double check and slip her free, because that one does not count. Okay, so we have brought the floater rod in, we've lost the light. Just before we did this evening sort of finishing piece, just got the adjustable zig back out there, set it about 4 feet under the surface because the fish will have dropped down now, and I'm just going to do my right hand rod. As you can see, I'm just changing the spool over to put some long chuck on, because I've got really heavy fluorocarbon on and it's not great for casting, to be honest. So switching over, the other two I've switched out throughout the day, so now this rod's in. I'm going to whip it over, get that rod back out, and hopefully get a good night's sleep, because it has been a very busy day. So we might see you in the night, or we might see you in the morning. Good morning, and it was a very quiet night, extremely quiet in fact. I thought I'd gone deaf at one point because it was that quiet and I couldn't hear a single thing. It went flat calm, and that zig, I worked it up and down sort of before I went to bed, and then about 5 o'clock this morning I'd worked it again. So I actually got woke up at 5 by a fish showing, probably 30 yards out. It was that loud. It woke me up. It takes quite a bit to wake me up as well. So that was a bit of a surprise, but I brought it down to about 6-7 foot under the surface because they were showing, but it was very weird. They were just sort of breaking the surface. They weren't coming fully out. And now they have started showing with a little bit more sort of gusto. So I've raised it back up again, just put, I don't know, maybe 6-7 spoms of floaters out just to try and entice them to take some off the top. And if that happens, we'll crank a rod in and the controller float and the surface rod will come back out. But yeah, quiet night. Didn't hear anyone else really have a bite. Did hear an alarm go at about 5 o'clock this morning, but I'm not sure if it was on one of the other lakes over on Turner's. So yeah, I can't say that I was disappointed to have a quiet night, to be fair. It was a nice night's sleep, and the rain that came made it a lot nicer, and another one has just shown right over my zig. So I think if we can get them going on the floaters again, we've definitely got a chance of another one. But it is a much cooler morning, which again, I'm very pleased for. So what we're going to do next is we're going to take you through how to upload your catch report onto the catch app with obviously the fish that I caught yesterday. So first thing you need to do is open your phone, go to the catch app, and then press the little plus icon in the middle. And then, as you probably have guessed, go on to catch reports. Log a catch, it will bring this sort of page up. We'll just skip past that. And then here it will say add photos. So obviously we've got the one main image just for ease that we're going to show you, but you can add a left flank, right flank, and additional images as well. So tap the main image, go to photo library, and then there is that lovely fish that I caught yesterday. So it's saying it could not detect any data from the fish, but we just type the weight in manually. So it's 18 pound and 4 ounces, I believe. We don't slide this across because it was not a personal best. And then on the AI selection, it is not working. So we'll go on and manually select the fish species ourselves. So it's not an African pompano or an alligator gar. So we'll just search species, which is carp. And then it was a mirror carp. So you've got loads of different options here. So I'll go back out of that, select mirror carp, not mitt. The old iPhone autocorrect doing me over. And then select the location. So we'll just type in Norton Disney. So we'll bring it up there on maps. And then we'll save the position. So it's dropped a pin there. So now it will give you date and time. So we caught that yesterday. So I'll drag that slider back. And then the time was roughly about 2 p.m. The time is not super important. Obviously it helps. But then type the bait you used. We'll type in a floater. So you can select whether to have it public or private. And then save the catch report. And then that will come up on the catch app. And then you'll be able to look back through that as well at the catch reports. So you can remember weights, sort of locations where you caught them, things you caught them on, stuff like that. So this is just a little bit of a top up to the Blueprints app. So when you do catch fish, that also gives you that feedback of data as well. So we've done that with this one. The other ones, obviously, we only photograph quickly in the water and we put them back. So I'm just submitting the one today. But obviously, it's always good practice to photograph fish and submit them to the app. It's good for other users as well. Right, so we've got them going again on mixers, and apologies for not looking at the camera because I'm watching this controller because they are taking them very confidently now. They were taking them at quite a bit of range, which is obviously not ideal. If you can get them feeding closer, that is better. And starting to creep back towards it. I have just missed one. I was a bit slow on the bite, but we're definitely in with a chance of another. They're all around the controller now. So fingers crossed, in a second, I'll have another one on. I always say fingers crossed, but Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't, but I am pretty confident it's going to happen. There's one right near it now. Come on, baby. Like a dirty Harry. La 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 la. Great success. Me and Tom was just doing Borat references when it's just absolutely smashed this mixer off the top, and they're absolutely carving them up now. So I do feel like now this sun's hot.
Say that you're absolutely buzzing as well. Do you want to say absolutely again?
Me? Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely, I'm buzzing. The clutch requires some adjustment. Yeah, so I think they're well and truly going again now. Once I've got this in, we'll put a couple more spons of mixers out. And yeah, I think it's about 9:30, Tom? Well, I don't know the exact time, but
6 minutes past 10.
6 minutes past 10, yeah. So I think it pays to get obviously mixers out early, even though there was nothing really showing this. Well, they were showing, but they weren't showing any signs of taking anything off the top. You've just got to get them going a little bit. And then, yeah, half an hour later, they're smashing them off the top like this, as are the seagulls. And I think the main thing with floater fishing is that people probably get wrong. They don't put enough out, or they don't bring enough with them. There's no good bringing a kilo of mixers, because a kilo of mixers will last you all of about 5 minutes. You don't have to buy the branded ones, obviously. You can go just buy dog biscuits, as people always used to. I'm just using the sticky krill, as I've said. And that is right under that rod. Yeah, so I'm using the sticky krill, as I said. And the reason for that is because you can get the really nice matching hook baits. I think sometimes hook bait is key with floater fishing. If you have something vastly different, they'll know and they won't want anything to do with it. People using pop-ups and stuff, I just don't think that is the one. I just think they look different, they probably act different on the surface, or that might be a big old load of but I think if you can match them, it's definitely giving you better odds. Please don't go, yeah, it's gone that one again. Thanks to the cameraman. Big up. Oh. That's my spod rod, that, mate. Just because you've been using it all day, all morning. It's not a very big one, as you can see the controller float spinning around in circles where it's banging its head. And it looks a lovely, linear. In she goes. Tom wanted me to do a Bosch, but not a bit of me, that, sorry. So, big excitement. There you go. Get in! There you go. There we go, first one of the morning in the bag. And as I look over Tom, the cameraman's shoulder, they're still smashing their mixers out there. So I won't waffle on for too long. With float fishing, you do have to seize the opportunity while it's there. You can't wait around or mess around. So yeah, lovely one, nice little linear. I'm gonna get it slipped back and get that rod straight back out there. As I said, you've got to make hay while the sun shines, as they say. Straight back out there. Had a bit of a calamity, if I'm honest, and then sorted that out. 2 minutes in the water and it's gone, so that is going to go through that line. But yeah, I think we'll be coming to a bit of an end soon because Tom, the cameraman, needs to go. But I reckon I am definitely going to be staying and making. Oh, come on. Depending on how much Tom decides he doesn't like me in the edit, you may have seen me just lose one. But we've lost a couple, we've had a load, and it's been a right laugh. But Tom does have to go now, which is a bit boring, but I'm going to stay because I think there's hours upon hours more fun left to be had. So I'm going to see the day out. Might drop some photos in. Oh, what a way to finish! We'll see you soon.
Yeah,